Here's some tips to play Loki at a way higher level. The biggest tip I can give with Loki is that you should always have one clone ready because it has a multitude of solutions and it provides so much value with Loki's kit. For reason one, it is an instantaneous teleport out because you can swap with one of your clones. You don't always want to be burning this cooldown because this cooldown is by far the best ability in the game in my opinion because it can shut down ultimates, and it's not an ultimate, it's an ability. So being able to shut down ultimates as an ability is absolutely outstanding. A lot of people think you should be using invisibility for escape, but I find it way more tedious to use this because you do accidentally get hit and break invisibility and you can't provide any value while you're invisible. Instead, using that teleport is far more valuable because you can find a new vantage point and then continue healing or dealing damage. While it's very useful to place clones around to get different vantage points to ensure that you have clones you can teleport to, I find it way more valuable to use the clones in the moment to find a place to teleport to, and instead sometimes setting up a firing line with Loki can be way more valuable because they'll all land exactly where you're aiming without having to focus too much on placements with obstruction. Also, if everyone's firing the same location and you have 3 Loki stacked up, you do an insane amount of healing and an insane amount of damage. Tip number 3 revolves around the domain ability that I talked about earlier. This ability is by far your best ability in your kit. Like I said, it can not only save tanks in the front line, but it can shut down abilities. Keeping one clone around and then dropping them to immediately place a regenerative zone, which heals them over time and then converts all damage taken into healing, can completely 180 a health of a tank. The real nuance with Loki is understanding when to use that ability and when to put a clone in front of somebody to save their lives. The final tip I can give with Loki is that it's very situational to use an offensive ulti when you're copying with Loki. I highly suggest that you try to copy a Luna Snow or at worst case a Mantis anytime you're using your transform, because when you transform into an offensive ability, if you do not provide value, if you do not get the picks necessary, or at least not on the right people, you will lose the fight for your team because you're no longer healing anyone at all. I highly suggest going into Luna, copying her, and then fighting with your team. Imagine rotating Luna ults with your own Luna on your team, or having a Luna ult from an enemy at any time that you need it just by copying them. The way you got to play the game with this guy is thinking, how many ultimates can I shut down with my crystals, and how many ultimates can I shut down with my copy healing ultimates? The more the merrier in every game. If you do that at least a few times a game, odds are you're going to win. If you like this kind of content, do me a favor, hit that follow button, likes, comments, shares, all that stuff is super helpful to me. Drop over at the stream as we will be streaming this, and thank you so much for being here. I'll catch you guys in the next one.